I want to talk to you about the Rebekah Principles. You find this in Genesis chapter 24. Interesting context here. Eliezer, the servant of Abraham, is performing a task, a very important task for Abraham, that is to find a bride for his son Isaac. But Eliezer, has traveled a long distance from the land of Canaan to the land where Abraham came from. A long journey. He traveled along with company. He had 10 camels with him. And now he's faced with this important task of finding a bride. The question was, how was he going to identify the right bride for his master's son Isaac? And how could he not make a mistake? Because he wasn't familiar with the land. He did not know the people, on a personal equation. And therefore, the only thing that he could do was actually to pray. So he's at the well and he makes this prayer. And the sum and substance of the prayer was he asked God and he said, God, help me, show me the right girl. I want this trip to be successful. And here's a sign, Lord, that, if the girl who I'm supposed to choose will be the girl whom I ask for water, and that she would provide me water, and not only provide me water, she would offer to provide water for my camels. The latter part of that request was a strange request because it took a lot of effort to provide water for all the camels. But nevertheless, Eliezer prayed that prayer. Even before he could finish his prayer, lo and behold, Rebekah was there. So Eliezer kind of approaches Rebekah and says, can you give me some water to drink? Almost instantaneously, Rebekah lowers her pitcher and provides water for Eliezer to drink. And even as Eliezer is drinking the water, Rebekah says the incredible. She says, after giving you water, I'm going to ensure that I provide all your camels also water. Now that was the exact sign that Eliezer prayed for, and God had answered his prayer. You see, it's an amazing, amazing incident. Eliezer was sure that Rebekah was the girl, right? Because of her response. What for me is intriguing is that how God orchestrated the whole scene. I'm amazed at the timing of God, right? Rebekah should come at the same time when Eliezer's there, just after Eliezer prays. But what also catches my attention is the attitude of Rebekah. Very often, the key to receive our breakthrough is our own attitude. And from this attitude of Rebekah, I draw out 4 principles which I want to share with you, which I believe will be useful for us to receive our breakthroughs even in this time and age. The first principle that I want to pick up is this, right? And which I want to share with you is this. Rebekah was willing to look after the need of somebody else. She didn't know who Eliezer was, right? Maybe this is the first time that she was seeing him. She was out there doing her own job, and her own job was difficult as it is to draw out water, fill the pitchers, and then this journey back. It must have been a difficult task. The weather could have not been very, useful for this whole task. It could have been a hot day. I mean, what was it if he was thirsty? But Rebekah didn't respond that way, right? Her heart was moved when he asked for water, and therefore she instantaneously said, sure, sir, I will give you the water. She stopped what she was doing. She lowered a pitcher and she gave water. I realize this, that when you and me are sensitive to the needs of others, we attract the favor of God. And that, I think, is a very important step for us to receive our breakthrough. But we live such busy lives, and sometimes we are guilty of living self-centered lives, right? And as a consequence of that, we miss these opportunities to attract the favor of God when we neglect the need of others. Rebekah, she was sensitive to the need, and she not only realized the need, but she did something for the need of Eliezer. That's the first principle. The second principle is this, that Rebekah was willing to do the extra. I mean, the request was just give me some water to drink. She gave the water. She met the request. She could have felt good. I helped somebody and gone back. But you know what? She was willing to do the extra, which was to even offer the camels of Eliezer water to quench their thirst. You see, a camel drinks a lot of water. A camel drinks on an average about 20 gallons of water, right? I'm talking about 10 camels, and if my math is right, that's 200 gallons of water. That's a whole lot of water. But you know what? Rebekah was willing to do the extra. And little did she realize that when she chose to do the extra, she was actually, she was aligning to the plan of God in her life. Very often when we fail to do the extra, we miss out on those breakthroughs. You must have heard this before, right? The difference between ordinary and extraordinary is the extra, right? We are so keen to do just what I'm supposed to do. Tick the box, just do what's in my KPI, as we speak in a corporate setting, and not do the extra. Often it's the extra is where our breakthrough lies. That's the second principle I learned from Rebekah's response. The third principle that I pick up from Rebekah's response is the fact that she was willing to serve for the motive of service, for the intention of service, and nothing more. Not for the lure of a reward, not for the motivation of applause or recognition. She just wanted to serve for the sake of serving. There was no promise of a reward for Rebekah, that if you give me water and you give my camels water, you know what, I'm going to find you a wealthy husband. She didn't know that. She didn't know what Eliza was there for. She didn't even know that in the immediate that she would get some gold ornaments, which Eliza would later give to her. She didn't know about the gold ornaments. She just realized that there was a situation to serve, and I'm willing to serve. But we live in a time and we operate out of a mindset of a what's in it for me. Right? If I know what I'm going to get by doing what I'm doing, then I will decide to do it or not, isn't it? If the value that I get by doing is greater than my effort in doing it, then I will do it. But not with Rebekah. She said, I'm going to serve. I don't know what's the reward. I don't know whether there's applause involved, but I'm just going to do it. Serving for the sake of service is a great principle for us to receive our breakthrough, and we see that demonstrated by Rebekah. And I think the fourth principle is being faithful with the routines. This was Rebekah's routine. Every day she would come to the well. It must have been hot. It must have been a journey to walk from her home to the well. I don't know exactly how far that was, but she came. It must have been heavy to carry those pitchers and go back. She did this day in and day out, every day. Maybe monotony could have set in. Maybe boredom could have set in. Maybe she could have said, hey, I'm not in the mood to go today. Why don't you guys go? I'm going to chill at home, right? I'll go some other day. I don't feel like going because of the monotony that is there. You see, the point is this. What would have happened if she chose not to go that particular day when Eliza was there? What if she gave in to monotony? What if she got bored with the process, right? She would have missed the opportunity. For me, the lesson that I get from here is, in the ordinariness of life, and when you're called to do the same thing again and again, expect the miraculous of God, right? We miss the miraculous because sometimes we get bored with the seemingly ordinary situation, right? In the process, being faithful to the process and being faithful to doing what you're supposed to be doing, there will be a suddenly that happens, a God-ordained suddenly where, your breakthrough moment can come. You see this in the life of Moses when he had this burning bush incident. He had a suddenly in the ordinariness of life, right? So I want to tell you, be faithful, expect God to do the miraculous as you and me choose to be faithful to the process. So as I conclude, just summing up these 4 Rebekah principles, right? One is be willing to serve the need of others, right? Be willing to serve the need of others. Second, be willing to do the extra. Third, serve not for a reward, but serve for the sake of service itself. And number 4, be faithful to the process, because in the process, you can expect the miraculous. God bless you. Thank you for watching Word in Brief. This is Rajiv signing off. But before I go, I want to encourage you to sign into my YouTube channel. You'll find content on faith and leadership. Thank you for watching once again.